Good.
Let's do it. All right, so we are going to open up a new Smart Notebook file. You should too. Fresh and crispy Smart Notebook file.
So do we want to start with that title page?
Yeah, let's start with that beautiful Survivor logo. So we're going to go to Internet Explorer. Our favorite place to go is Google. We're going to click Images, and we're going to search for Survivor logo. And you're going to see real quick that there's like a logo for every Survivor that they've ever done. So, do you have a favorite? Survivor Fiji. Fiji. Let's do that one. So, I'm going to go full-size image like this. And in Windows 7, you can either restore down using this middle icon here, or if you just grab and drag your window down, it's really nice because you can see your Smart Notebook file underneath and then your picture. We can just click and drag it into our Smart Notebook file.
Nice.
And once it's in there, we can resize it when we want it.
And if you want a background color, just right-click on the background.
Somewhere away from your picture.
And go up to Set Background, and you can choose a color.
Is that good?
Looks good.
All right. So we're good?
Yep.
Awesome.
So this is exactly what you're going to do for your assignment.
Yeah. And Smart Response wise, we're not going to do a title page because as you saw with Larissa and I, you wanted to start the question, stop the question, and see what your students answered. So when you need individual question feedback, you have to do this single question option for Smart Response. Okay? So we're not going to worry about that title page. So we're just going to arrow to our next blank page, and we're going to insert a single question. We're going to do multiple choice because we're thinking state review is a great way to use this. You can do other types of questions. You just got to choose your question type.
And it's easiest if you do the same type of question. You can like all multiple choice or all numeric.
Absolutely, it's the best way. So, and then we don't know what the answer is because we obviously don't have a question now. And you see how I'm just cruising right through this wizard. We're going to get this content from somewhere else. We don't need to type anything into the wizard. Just cruise right through, make sure you have the right type of question and the number of options, and we hit finish. And in our page, we've got the question number 1 and 4 multiple choice options.
Let's take off this auto hide while we're creating.
So
click up here and you can take off your auto hide. Okay.
So I like to call this the skeleton. This has to be on the page. You don't have to show any piece of it. We can cover it right up with a picture, but it has to be there because this is telling it, the Smart Response, that it's a response question to use with the clickers. So don't delete any of those pieces.
So first we're just making a template, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So we have one question.
One question. Now on our file, we had like a tropical background. You can choose to do that. You could choose to just do a solid background color. You could continue with your Survivor logo if you wanted the same logo on each page. We could copy and paste it over here, so that you're covering up those multiple choices. It's up to you, really, how you do this.
And then later you'll put the question on top.
On top of it, yeah. And you can do a little bit of transparency if you wanted or not. It's up to you.
Looks good.
You want to leave it like this?
Yeah, I think that's great.
So now that we have this page and we're happy with it, instead of sitting and going through the wizard every time, we are going to put in all of the clone these pages. So let's clone our pages. So we click on our page sorter tab, and we're going to sit here and click this, and we're going to clone. And you'll see, look, it already puts in number 2.
It's so smart.
It's so smart.
Say no to a title page. We're not putting a title page in.
And then we can keep cloning.
Let's say like 15 question pages.
At
10
least,
to 15.
yeah, somewhere between 10 to 15. If you want to go crazy and do more, you're welcome to. But in a normal class period, you're not going to get, time to do much more than 15 questions. So we're going to do 10. Let's do 10.
Okay, one more. We're at 9.
Thanks. There we go, 10. And if you're a shortcut person, you'll see I did that clone, just Control-D on your keyboard.
Once you're clicking, when you have the page highlighted, then Control-D.
All right, so we're going to add one more page at the end, but we're not going to clone because it's not Smart Response page, and this is going to be our scoreboard page. So I'm going to set the same background, and this is our scoreboard page.
Okay.
Are we ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
So in our scoreboard page, we had like a table. Tables are tricky, so I think we should just put in a shape. So a rectangle would be nice, or a square, and we'll just divide it in half. So if you click Shapes here, choose a square, and then if you come over to your Properties tab and choose your color now, you won't have to worry about doing it later. And when you draw out your rectangle, or your square, it draws it right out with a color. Up to you.
Okay.
All right. So we had one of these, and then we had a separate one over here that had the questions in it, so I'm just going to clone this one. I'm a cloner. I like to clone, and then I like to adjust the sizes.
And when you adjust that size, you're pulling the white handle, and you kind of have to fight it, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it will let you resize the shape.
Kind of like snaps it. All right. So we had, a scoreboard label over here, teams, all kinds of stuff. So you can use text boxes for this. We had scoreboard on here. All kinds of fun stuff. You can go crazy. You can go very minimal. It's up to you. You know how you do this.
Again, after clicking on the A for text, then you want to go back to the arrow.
Nice.
Okay.
You want to change your font, you're welcome to. Ooh, like that one. Let's do that one. You can clone this and just use the same one now that you have it. If you're not super savvy, you don't have to go crazy.
Teams and then maybe questions. That's good, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Nice and simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the sound effect I just made there. There we go. So, the only other piece that we had here was we had like all of the questions listed in numbers, and those have to be individual text boxes because they're links. So we're going to clone this one more time, and we're going to delete this and just do, question 1, and now clone this text box. Again,
And that's on the
Control
drop
D,
down.
yeah. Or
And
on
then
the drop
double
down.
click on it.
So I'm going to go clone.
Oh, yeah.
Move it, double click, and then just edit. And when you click off, you're still on the arrow tool, so you don't have to worry about going back and selecting your arrow tool. How we doing?
Good.
This is the most monotonous part of the whole thing right here. This is the worst. But once we do this once, we're never going to do this again because we're going to save it as a Smart Response template for you. So you're just going to have this in your files forever and ever.
And it's cool because you're going to create the whole thing by yourself.
So obviously if you had 15 questions, you would want all the way up to your 15, questions. Maybe a smaller font. I just did 10, so we got all 10 here. All right, good?
Mm-hmm.
How'd we do?
Now, do you want to set the links now for this?
We can. Now that we have
so
all
you
the
just
pages
went up
in.
and did a line. Okay.
Am I doing too much for you?
No, that's good.
Okay.
We still need, I liked your lightning bolt.
You wanted to do lightning bolt?
I think
Alright.
that's cool.
So we're going to go get a picture of a lightning bolt. So coming back to I'm going to make this big full screen again and go back to Google here and search now for a lightning bolt.
And if you decide, you can just use marks too if you're
Totally.
going to
Checks,
just keep
whatever
track.
you wanted.
Yeah.
So I like this guy here. What do you think?
Looks good.
We could have gotten an animated one. That would have been fun. So I again resize it down, and then I can just drag this lightning bolt right in there and make it smaller.
Here's another fun trick here. Once you have your picture, if you don't like that white background, you can right-click Set Picture Transparency. Click on the white, and then click OK. You'll just have your lightning bolt.
Look at us go. So excited.
We're covering everything.
Yeah. So this was an infinite clone because then we can just pull off a bunch of lightning bolts. So to make this an infinite clone, click on it so it's selected, hit your drop down and choose infinite clone. And now when you pull these off, it'll make infinite copies of your lightning bolt.
If you need
Like
to
so.
move it, you're going to have to take it off infinite clone just by clicking on it
Right click.
and then click on infinite clone. It will go back to a regular object.
Alright, so we're happy with the scoreboard, so now we're ready to put our links in.
Mm-hmm.
So we can link these right now. We want this to go to question number 1. So to do that, if you click on your text box so that it's selected, hit your drop down and choose link. And just like in PowerPoint, you get options and we can link in between pages in this file. So if you choose page in this file, and they give you a nice thumbnail, which is very helpful because the question pages, you'll see page 1 is our title page. Page 2 is actually question 1. So it's always one more than the question number you're on. So click, and then make sure you select this object here, because then you can click anywhere on the number 1 and it'll link you. And then click OK. And then do the same thing for this one.
Now, careful you don't put your numbers too close together, because if they're overlapping, it's hard to know which one you click on.
Yeah, good call. Link, object, page in this file, and then
You
we're on
have to
question
remember.
3, so page 4. And
Let's
then
see
click
how
OK.
it works. Let's click on question 1.
Question 1, page 1, perfect. So, and we haven't put our link back to our scoreboard, so I gotta scroll all the way back down, and now you can take note of how monotonous this is right now. That's the second time I've used that word to get there. So
Okay, so that's working.
so far we're good. So you continue to do this for all of your numbers. We don't have to go through this with you for each one here, but you want to make sure that you link up all of your numbers so that all of these are linked up.
We have just one more thing to go. The
Yeah.
link back to the scoreboard.
So I'm going to go back up here to question 1, and we want the link to the scoreboard over here. We use an animated torch. If you want to use an animated torch, you can use an animated torch. If you don't, you could search for something else. It's up to you. What do you think? Animated torch?
Yeah.
Animated torch.
You add the GIF in there?
I don't. Usually I just do that.
Okay.
And then if you guys recognize this one right here is our animated torch right here. So if you click full-size image, see how it's animated? And you can pull it down and you can drag it right into your notebook file and it's going to stay animated, which is the best.
Nice. Okay.
Now if we link this right now to our scoreboard page, when we copy it, it should keep our link intact.
Okay, so let's create that link.
Object, okay. And now we can copy, right click, copy, and go to page 2, question 2, and paste, and let's see if our link stayed intact. Perfect. So we go page 3, right click, paste, links intact. Page 4, paste. And I'm moving it by clicking and dragging, because if I just give it a single click, I'm going to link. So just
or you can right click on it.
or you can, yeah, and that works too, right click. It's a little tricky.
Yeah, that's a trick, definitely, or you'll drive
Paste,
yourself crazy.
Yeah, keep linking back and forth.
Okay, when you've put all your links on, this is your template, your Survivor template. So go ahead and save this as Survivor template, and then
File, save as. I'll put it right in my documents. Survivor.
this you can use anytime you want to create a game. You're only going to do this once, and you have this great template that you created.
Yeah, so you always want to open up your template, put content in it, and then save it as
Something
Survivor
else.
Review Polynomials or whatever it is you're reviewing. Then click save. But that way you don't ever have to make all these links and stuff again. Be
So
nice.
this was part 1. You created the Survivor template.
Here it is. We're good.